We are now joined by Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky, who was just recently elected in the wake of some concern in the nation about the overspending.
Thank you, Grover. I've been a long fan of the Americans for Tax Reform. I got my start in Kentucky with a group that was affiliated with the Americans for Tax Reform, Kentucky Taxpayers United. They say that compromise in this town, or that compromise is the ideal. They asked the Tea Party, will you compromise?
No.
What they mean by this is, will you vote to raise taxes? The Debt Commission has proposed raising taxes. The President has proposed raising taxes. The question I ask is, before I give them any more of my money, are they doing a good job with the money I've already given them? In the budget, $100 billion goes unaccounted for. We don't know where it's spent. When I first got here, I said, well, what if I turn back some of my office money? I get $3.5 million. I want to turn back a couple $100,000. Where does it go? Does it go to offset the deficit? After 4 months, we're still unclear. We think it sits in some fund for several years and may well be spent by some other senator. If we don't know how we're spending the money, do we want to send more money to this place? The Pentagon is unable to be audited. Do you know what the Pentagon says? We are too big to be audited. You heard them talk about too big to fail. Now we have government says they're too big to be audited. We're doing a partial audit of the Fed now. Do you know what they discovered? We just gave money to Libya's national bank. Libya's national bank could probably also be called the Gaddafi Savings and Loan. But we're giving American taxpayer money. Are we spending our money wisely? We had a big debate last week in town. We almost shut the government down. And you would think, well, we almost shut the government down. It must have been something really important, right? Well, it turns out that the spending bill we have that was supposed to be cutting spending will not be cutting any spending. The CBO scored the spending bill. It cuts $8 billion, but it increases military spending by $8 billion. It doesn't cut any spending. I don't think it's worth shutting down the government if you're not even really going to cut any spending. The thing is that there will have to be compromise here. There will have to be some kind of compromise, but the compromise is not raising taxes. The compromise should be cutting spending. The compromise will come when conservatives decide that the problem is bad enough that they're willing to look at military spending. We doubled military spending in the last 10 years. I think it's the most important thing we do up here is national defense. It's constitutional, we should do it. But we will have to look at cutting military spending. The compromise will be conservatives agreeing that military spending will have to be cut and liberals agreeing that domestic spending will have to be cut. That's the compromise we need, but we do not need to raise taxes. They're not spending what we give them now wisely. Thank you.